In fact, it's 215 Republicans, some of them in very tough swing districts who are up for re-election next year, just voted to take Medicaid away from millions of Americans, including all these Republicans.
Democrats will tell you it's going to cut Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and take away your health care. They're lying, and nothing can be further from the truth.
We're not going to be touching Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid.
Also will stand with President Trump in opposing gutting Medicaid. My position on this has not and it will not change.
Discomani says he supports both programs, writing a letter to Republican leadership saying he will not vote for any legislation that lowers Medicaid coverage.
Let me tell you again, as a nurse practitioner and a person who understands and cares about health care, I can reassure you that health care, that Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security are not places where we're looking to cut services.
A budget bill that does not protect vital Medicaid services and address the cap on state and local tax or SALT, these deductions, if they are not there, it will not receive my vote.
You vote to have that potential of those benefits being taken away?
No, I mean, obviously my goal is to not do anything that damages Medicaid.
Every single one of those Republicans just voted to damage and dramatically cut Medicaid. Every single one. The margins in the House are razor thin, and there is a lot of time left before the House will almost definitely have to take this bill back up. A lot of time in which any swing district Republican member of Congress could face a lot of pressure from their constituents.
All right, y'all. I never thought these words would come out of my mouth, but I'm mad that the Democrats were right. A new nonpartisan analysis of the GOP's big, beautiful bill found that what Democrats have been saying for weeks is actually true, that this legislation and everything contained inside is essentially just a huge tax giveaway to the rich. With Democratic Representative Boyle from Pennsylvania putting it quite simply, this is what Republicans are fighting for, lining the pockets of their billionaire donors while children go hungry and families get kicked off of their health care. And y'all, not only were Democrats screaming the truth at us, Republicans were caught lying over and over and over because they repeatedly defended the big, beautiful bill, saying that it wouldn't touch Medicaid, then kind of moving the goalpost a little bit and saying, well, it won't change Medicaid for people who really need it. I mean, y'all, look at this. Not only are the poorest going to be losing money and the richest are going to be making money, but that is going to be the case over the course of the next 8 years. With this nonpartisan analysis from the CBO literally attributing those gains for the richest mainly due to the reductions in taxes they owe. So there you have it. MAGA's big mega bill is going to make everyday life for the poorest Americans that much harder to fund barely noticeable improvements in the lives of billionaires. Because clearly, they're the ones that need the assistance of the US government. Just look at what Elon Musk was able to do with all those handouts. And you know what? Now that we know that Democrats have been telling the truth this entire time and Republicans have been lying this entire time, I expect and need to see top Democrats with their boots on the fucking ground hammering this data and these talking points into the constituency of the United States. And you know what? Let's take it a step further, shall we? Not only do I need to see Democrats utilizing this messaging in their hit-backs towards MAGA, but I need to see the more moderate Republicans who claim that they're so fiscally conservative and want to help out their constituents with tax breaks, yada, 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 their usual stuff. I need to see them coming out and saying, no, that bill sucks. You literally saw the data. It's gonna hurt people in red states that are poor, like mine. I'm not going to support that. No, change it. But I guess the question is, will that happen? What do you guys think? Comment below.
Hey, MAGA. Republicans decided last night, early wee hours, to sneak in cuts to Medicare. Medicare. Not just Medicaid. Now it's Medicare. They just snuck it in. You know why? Because they need money for those tax cuts. That's all they care about. How many people do you know are on Medicare? There's a lot of them. A lot of people with disabilities are going to feel this. Oh, it's happening. It's happening, isn't it? Everything we said was going to happen. I mean, I'm an empathic person and I do feel something right now for you guys, but I really don't. I look forward to the videos you're going to make because it's going to happen. Hold on. I'm going to say this. $500 billion in automatic cuts to Medicare. But he's getting $45 million for his parade. Woo!
I am going through the big, beautiful bill that the Republicans passed last night in the House. And when I tell you there are specific cuts to Medicare, not just Medicaid, to Medicare. So there is section 44121, which is a moratorium on staffing requirements for long-term care facilities. That's just one of the cuts. So they basically will reduce the amount of people that are required to be on staff at a facility. And as someone who's gone through this with family members, I can tell you they're already short-staffed. The second thing that they do is they're going to reduce the requirements that these people have to work there. I can also tell you that there is a shortage of people who actually have nursing skills. They often have people who show up that have a couple of weeks worth of training and don't know how to administer medications or certain care procedures, and that makes people's lives so much worse when you don't have someone there that can actually help them. So these cuts are going to be devastating. I'll be going through the rest of the bill today. Please follow, and I will give you as many updates as I can.
Welcome back to Echo Room Vibes, the show where we don't take sides, we just echo the internet loudest truth. And today, well, it looks like some MAGA voters just got a taste of what they voted for. And baby, it is gluten-free, benefit-free, and emotionally undercooked. So guys, let's go back to the rest of the video and we will be back for more commentary.
No politician in his right mind would ever vote on a bill to cut Medicaid, especially a politician who has a midterm coming up. That, folks, is complete political suicide. But they're going to do it anyway. And that tells me one thing. They have midterms taken care of. Because it just does not match. Like you can't put those two together and make that make any type of sense whatsoever. I mean, you are going to hurt the American people like very few politicians have ever hurt the American people. And you know that you were going to hurt the American people. And you lied about whether you were going to hurt the American people by cutting Medicaid. How many times did we hear that they weren't going to touch that when we all knew there was no way to get the figure they wanted without cutting it? And instead of taxing the rich, all right, they're just going to take from us. Complete, utter political suicide. But that's in normal times, and we don't live in normal times. But for this to happen just tells me what's coming. And I guess there's nothing we can do about it unless we get this regime out of D.C.
Barack Obama is they expanded Medicaid to young, healthy adults. And so what the House has done, which I've been advocating for a long time, is if you're a young, healthy adult, you should be working and you shouldn't be getting Medicaid and sitting at home just getting a government check.
Now, I'm a Medicaid provider. So let's say we have a patient. Let's call her Mary. And Mary lives in a rural part of the country, and she works at her local grocery store as a checkout clerk. It's a minimum wage job. It offers no benefits, but she gets her health care through Medicaid. Now, times are hard, and her grocery store got hit particularly hard by tariffs and supply chain issues, so they have to lay Mary off. Now, Mary is scrambling to find a job so that she can stay eligible for Medicaid. But unfortunately, a lot of people in her small town got hit by these layoffs, and there really isn't much work to be had. And the nearest town with work is about a 35-minute drive away, but unfortunately, Mary doesn't have a car, and the public transportation system in her town is particularly dismal. So she keeps trying to find work, but unfortunately during this time she loses access to Medicaid, which means she loses access to her primary care doctor, her specialist, and the ability to get medications. And without those things, Mary's health starts to deteriorate, and she's in and out of her local emergency room with flare-ups of her diseases. And now she's racking up tons of medical debt. As Mary's health continues to decline, she realizes that she can't really stand for prolonged periods of time because of her rheumatoid arthritis, and she realizes that being a checkout clerk is no longer going to work, so she looks for other jobs, more sedentary jobs like a receptionist, but unfortunately a lot of those jobs require prior experience, which Mary doesn't have, so she doesn't get hired for those. She tries to apply for disability and then volunteer and do some community service so she can get access to Medicaid and her health care again. But unfortunately, the process to do this is very bureaucratic. There's tons of red tape. It's confusing, and a lot of it requires access to either a smartphone or the internet, both of which Mary lost access to because when her services got cut off, she couldn't pay the bills. She had to choose between her utilities and food, and Mary chose food. All of this is extraordinarily stressful for Mary, and she's still trying to find work, but she's getting sicker and sicker. And one morning she wakes up and she's really nauseous. She's vomiting. She's got a headache. She's dizzy. She's got chest pain. She's short of breath. She's a little confused. So she calls 911, and the ambulance comes to pick her up to take her to the emergency room. Unfortunately, her local emergency room has closed because it was primarily getting its funding through Medicaid, and with all these Medicaid cuts, they had to shut their doors. So the ambulance is forced to take Mary to an even further emergency room outside of town. But unfortunately, by the time she gets there, she has slipped into a coma. When she gets there, they test her. They find out she has diabetic ketoacidosis from missing her insulin. Not by choice, she couldn't afford it. And she winds up in the ICU for a few days, and unfortunately, Mary dies. So let's pause there and have this discussion. So do you guys think that Mary was a freeloader? Do you think that she was just someone who was sitting at home getting a government check, milking the system, or was she a victim of that system? Was she stuck in this vicious, perpetual feedback loop from which she couldn't escape? Were there many systemic and structural issues that were impacting Mary's ability to get care, Mary's ability to get work? Don't let MAGA Republicans gaslight you into thinking that these are just work requirements. They're not Medicaid cuts. They are most certainly Medicaid cuts. We have data to support this. They did this in Arkansas, and when that happened in Arkansas, what happened was 18,000 people lost access to their health care, and it had no impact in employment. What this is going to do is it's going to make millions of people lose their health care. This will make the chronic disease epidemic worse, not better. People are going to get sicker. People are going to die. Rural healthcare systems are going to collapse. That is going to further exacerbate the already existing healthcare disparities, which contribute a lot to our chronic disease epidemic in this country. It's not good. As a physician who accepts Medicaid patients, I'm telling you right now, this is not good. But what can you expect from the pro-life, Make America Healthy Again party? Am I right?
Yesterday, me and my cold sores observed some MAGA videos come across our FYP. That doesn't usually happen, but it did yesterday. And the reason I bring this up is because I'm going to put some of the screenshots of things that they said in the comments. And one of the videos was talking about the big, beautiful bill, which I call the reverse Robin Hood bill. And they really did believe that the no tax on tips and overtime was going to help their families and was going to bring more cash in there. You know, not even including what they thought was going to happen with tariffs. A lot of them were just counting on this. They were going to be happy if they just got that. And now that they've read the bill, they're going, F, we got screwed, as you can see in these comments. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because some of these people got chased off TikTok. There was another man who said, you know, I voted for him, hoping that, you know, I work hard and I want to see that more in my income so I can help my family. And what the heck, this is not happening. Like, where are you? When is this going to start happening? And this is a huge opportunity for us to ally with them, because we need to ally with them. And chasing them off here just because you're angry doesn't work. And that is why the rage that we feel on the left will bite us in the ass if we don't start reining that back in and calming ourselves down and start getting logical and strategic about this. That rage is toxic and it will end up hurting us in the long run. It makes us erratic. It makes us react in ways that we wouldn't normally. We're out to just bite and attack anybody. Our fight or flight is through the roof. And I talked to one of these men and he said, you know, there's corruption on both sides. This just doesn't work. We have to get rid of these billionaires and trillionaires. And this was a Trumper. He had flags on the side of his house that he was showing. And people chased him off of here. That was a huge opportunity. He and I were having a conversation, and then he's gone. Please don't do that. These people are waking up. Usually there's two ways people wake up from cults. One, the opposition treats them so well that it interrupts their programming. And they're like, wait a minute. They're supposed to hate me. They're supposed to want to hurt me. They're supposed to be evil and dangerous. And oh, they're very accepting and kind. What's going on? That's how I woke up from being in a cult. The other way is for the leader to not deliver what they've promised on and start to cause fear and panic in them, and that is happening. So it can happen two different ways, and it'd be great if we had both ways working together to help wake these people up, because we do need them. We have midterms coming up in 2026. Those will happen. And we need people to be voting on our side. I already have heard them say if they touch Medicaid, if they do XYZ, I am going to vote blue no matter what, because we can't do this. There's people in the villages down in Florida that are saying, no way, we are not doing this again. I thought I would vote for him forever, and now I won't. We have an opportunity here. Do not chase them off. If you have to take time away from social media to calm down, please do that. Please stay away from the breaking news. Do what you need to do to calm yourself down and get back to who you are, which is a kind person who wants to make this work, who wants our country to function. Because when we get that angry, we don't even care if it functions. We're like, I don't care, F them all. Okay, then we've just signed our name on to full destruction of this country and for all of the children in it. We have to outgrow our rage. We have to. I know that's not easy. I sat in that rage for a long time, and it gets very destructive. And when I'm seeing people chase off people on here who are starting to agree with us, that's crazy talk. It's so destructive. Please stop doing that. If you can't at least say something nice, then just leave it alone. But do not chase these people away, because if we can't get them to vote with us, at least we need their schmeppens to be pointed in the right direction if we ever have to use them. If we have weapons pointed at each other, it's like having no weapons at all. They all have to aim in the same direction. And it very well could come to a time where we need each other. So we may as well start working on it now while we have the opportunity, where it hasn't gone into full chaos and isn't completely so dangerous that we have to all hide. We have an opportunity now. Let's take it.
Welcome back, fam. So let's break it down. The GOP just went full Edward Scissorhands on Medicaid, Medicare, and SNAP. That's right. No more government handout unless it's $1 billion subsidy for big oil or another tax break for the yacht club. And who is crying in the checkout line? Karen from Kentucky, who is now whispering into our EBT card. I thought this was just for the others. And let's talk about the viral stitches, guys. Shout out to the TikTokers who brought the smoke and the stitches. One viral creator said, "You voted for small government and now the government got small enough to cut your benefit." Another stitched in with an Oscar-worthy monologue. When they came for the immigrants, you said nothing. When they came for the SNAP program, you said good riddance. When they came for you, suddenly it's, where is my America? So, guys, MAGA tears on aisle 4. Folks online are calling it the snapback of the century. One user even posted, "How can they do this to us? We voted Republican," and the comments were savage. One reply said, "You didn't vote Republican, you voted for regret." Now, look, this ain't about laughing at suffering, but it is about the wild disconnect between slogans and consequences. You can't yell bootstraps while tugging on government programs like they are your last lifeline. You said, drain the swamp, but didn't realize you were standing in the water. So here we are. A moment built on owning the lips, now getting evicted by their own policies. Let this episode serve as a reminder. Politics isn't a meme war, it's a grocery bill. Respect to the originators and TikTok stitchers who are out here exposing the double standards with facts and fire. So if you have made it this far, drop a crying emoji if you have seen these breakdowns in your timeline. Drop a bank emoji if you have ever had to hustle between paychecks, and drop a fire emoji if you think the FAFO season is just beginning. From Echo Room Vibes, peace out.
Rap jingle, Echo Room Vibes. Beat kicks in, chill lo-fi or boom bap vibe. Catchy and melodic. Echo Room Vibes, yeah, we bring that heat. Sat us so smooth, never miss a beat. No cap, no bias, just keeping it real. Comment what you think, tell us how you feel. One stop spot for the daily scroll. Drama, fact, and a little bit of soul. Reacting to the world with a comic twist. We roast and reflects, nothing gets missed. No agendas, just that clever spark. We shine like what it takes to dog. Respect the clip, Stitch's origin too. We give the credit, that's how we do. Hope you beat with variation, Echo Room Vibes. You keep us fly, shout out every end, that 1,000 guy. Like comments, be part of the tribe. Join the room, catch the vibe, fill the job. To all our subs, you keep us fly. Shout out every end, that 1,000 guy. We see you watching, don't just slide. Drop that fire emoji, show your pride.